Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to crochet this beanie here that you saw on my mannequin. As it sits, it should fit approximately 19 to 22 inch head, and I do tell you how you can make it bigger or smaller when the time comes. And it measures approximately 8 inches down. You can make the brim longer or shorter if you'd like. So it's made all with post stitches, front post stitches and back post stitches. All right, that's entirely what it's made of. So got to have those down. But it's got the 2 sets of ribbing here. Oh, and there's single crochet at the bottom. That's it. Everything else is post stitches. So I like the way that it turned out. It's even, you can make it reversible if you felt like it. If you like the way it looked on the other side, it could be reversible if you wanted. But technically, I made it so it look this way. So this is a gender neutral pattern too as well, so you guys want to go ahead and get started on it. Let me set it to the side and I'll show you what yarn I used. So I used this yarn right here, which is Rico Designs brand. It's Fashion Modern Tweed. It's an Aran weight, so it's a 4-weight yarn, and there are 95 meters in this ball, so about 100 yards per ball. And this is the second ball, so you're gonna need about 180 yards to finish this hat. Of course, a little bit more if you're gonna make it bigger. You do not have to use this yarn. Any 4-weight yarn will work. It's a wool polyamide viscose blend. You can see it does have the flex, but remember, any 4-weight will be just fine. And then you are going to want to use, I don't know if it's the same one I used in the video, but it is the same size, an eye, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to start off with a slip knot on our hook, just like that. And now I'm going to work a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to use the magic circle, that would be fine, but I'm not going to be using that. So I'm going to chain 4, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain to form a ring that I can work into. It's like that. So now I have a little ring, and this is going to start with the chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. So in the center of this ring, I'm going to be working 12 double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over and go through the ring and draw my loop back up, and then do my double crochet like normal. And I want to do that 12 times, that being number 1. There's 2. 3, 4, and continue on until you get 12, and I'll meet back up with you. All right, so I made it to the end of round 1, and I have my 12 double crochets. So I'm going to end with a slip stitch into my first double crochet, not the chain 1, but the first double. That'll end round 1, and we will have 12 double crochets. Now we're going to start round 2 by chaining 1, which does not count as a stitch. So we're going to be working front post double crochets. So the very first one, you have to go around the chain 1 right here and the double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and go around the post of that stitch, getting that chain 1 and the double crochet in there, and do your front post double crochet. And then we're going to do another front post double crochet around that same stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, go around it, and a front post double. So that's 2 front post double crochets into that very first stitch. And what we're going to do is work around, and we're going to work 2 front post double crochets around every stitch until we get back to our starting point. So there's 1 there, and go around the same post, and we do another front post double. So that's 2 front post double crochets there. Again, we go to the next stitch and we work 2 front post double crochets around it. There's 1, and then another around the same post, and 2. So I'm going to repeat this pattern of 2 front post double crochets around every single stitch until I make it back to my starting point. Just 1 and go around the same post, and there's 2. So I'll meet back up with you when I make it back around to the beginning. Alright, so I've made it to the end of round 2. So this is the top of your work right here, and this is what the back of your work will look like. It's going to have these little ridges for a little bit, so just remember that's the back side. Alright, you should have 24 stitches now, and we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first front post double crochet. Like that. And now we're going to chain 1 and start round 3. Now round 3, we are going to do 1 front post double crochet around the first stitch. So this one right here, remember the very first one, we always have to get this chain 1 in it from the previous row. So kind of yarn over and go around the post of that very first stitch and do 1 front post double crochet. Now the next stitch we're going to put 2 front post double crochets around it. What we're doing is slowly increasing the crown of our hat. So there's 1, and then we get around the post and do another one. There's 2. And that's the pattern that we're going to repeat now for row 3. So the next stitch right here, make sure you look around, so because sometimes they hide, you put 1 front post double crochet, and the next stitch right here, 2 front post double crochets. Okay, again the next one right there, 1 front post double crochet. Remember, we're going around the post of the stitch. And then the next one, 2 front post double crochets. So I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around. 1 front post double crochet, and then 2 front post double crochet. 1 front post and 2, 1 front post and 2. It's always front post double crochets. We're going to repeat that pattern all the way back until we make it back to our starting point. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 3, and you should have ended with 2 front post double crochets in your last stitch, and you should have a total of 36 stitches all the way around. And we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first front post double crochet. Find it here. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and start round 4, chaining 1, which does not count as a stitch. We're going to do 1 front post double crochet around the first stitch. Remember, you got to get this chain 1 in the very first one. So you go around that chain 1 and the post. 1 front post double crochet. The next stitch, which is kind of hidden, but right there. 1 front post double crochet. And then the next stitch, we'll get 2 front post double crochets into the same stitch. So that is going to be the repeat for round 4. 1 front post double crochet into the next stitch. 1 front post double crochet into the next, and it's always kind of hidden, but right there. And then 2 front post double crochets into the next. So I'm going to repeat this pattern: 1 front post, 1 front post, 2 front post, 1 front post, 1 front post, 2 front post, all the way around until I make it to the end of round 4. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 4. You should have ended with 2 front post double crochets in the last stitch. Total of 48 stitches now. And we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first front post double crochet, just like that. Let's go ahead and start round 5. So we're going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and we're going to start off by doing a front post double around this first stitch. Remember, we got to get that chain 1 in there around the first one. And and then we're going to do a front post double crochet into the next stitch, and a front post double crochet into the next one. It's the one that likes to hide. So that was 3 front post double crochets in a row, and now the next stitch we're going to do 2 front post double crochets, both into the next, this one there and one into the same stitch again. So that is the repeat now for round 5. 1 front post double crochet into the next, 1 front post double crochet into the next, 1 front post double crochet into the next. So that's 3 front post double crochets in a row, and then the next stitch gets 2 front post double crochets into the same stitch. So there's 1 and there's 2. So I'm going to repeat that: front post double, front post double, front post double, and then 2 front post double. 1, 2, 3 front post doubles, and then the next one is 2 front post doubles, all the way around until I make it to the end of round 5. Alright, so I made it to the end of round 5. You should have ended in 2 front post double crochets, and you should have a total of 60 stitches now. So we're going to slip stitch into our first front post double, and we're going to start round 6. Round 6 will be our last row of increases. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do a front post double crochet around the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and this guy that likes to hide here, 4. So let's go ahead and do that. Remember, the first one, you got to get that chain 1 in there. So there is 1 front post double, front post double in the next makes 2, front post double into the next makes 3, front post double into the next makes 4, and then the next one we will put 2 front post doubles in around the same stitch. So there's 1 and 2, and that is going to be the repeat for round 6. 1 front post double into the next 4 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 front post doubles into the next. So I'm going to repeat this pattern of 1 front post double into the next 4, and then 2 front post doubles into the next, all the way around until I make it back to the starting point of round 6. Alrighty, I come to the end of round 6, and again, you should have ended with 2 front post stitches in the last one, and we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into the first one, and you should have a total of 72 stitches now, like that. So 72 is our magic number. Now let's go ahead and do a measurement of the crown. This is the crown of the hat. All right, I always shoot for a 19 to 22 inch head. I shoot circumference wise, I shoot for my crown to be anywhere from 6 to 6.5 inches. There we go. We made it. So go ahead and measure yours. You want to make it anywhere between 6.5 inches. Now, if you have a bigger head, say a bigger circumference head, you would want to do another round of increases. And if you want to, if it's smaller, you would leave one of those rounds off. But for 19 to 22, you want to try to make the crown here anywhere in between 6 and 6.5 inches, and you'll be good. All right, let's go ahead and start now. So this is the crown, and now we're going to start doing the bottom. The hat will start to form into a hat. So remember, this is the back side. This is what it looks like on the back. This is the front. Now 72, if you're following along with me, making it the size that I'm making, is going to be the number of stitches that we have from here on out, okay? So we're going to start round 7, and we're going to chain 1. Now round 7 is just going to be 1 front post double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. We're not going to be doing any increasing. So around this first one, make sure you get that chain 1 and go around the post. And we're just going to work around, and we're going to put 1 front post double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. We're not putting 2 into 1, it's just 1 into every stitch, and always remember that one that likes to hide. We can't forget him. There's always one in a bunch, isn't there? With everything. Okay, so I'm going to continue around putting 1 front post double crochet in every single stitch until I make it back around to the end of round 7, and that's where I'll meet back up with you. You should have a total of 72 stitches still when we make it back around. Alright, so I've made it to the end of round 7, 72 stitches still. We're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first front post double crochet. So it's okay if your hat's flipping up like that. It's normal. Wouldn't be normal if it didn't. Alright, we're going to fix it though. So now what we're going to do for round 8, we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to be working back post double crochets. And we're going to work 1 back post double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. So the back post is a little bit more difficult, but we're going to yarn over. And when you go through the first one, make sure you get that chain 1 in the post. And the first one is always the hardest one. Okay, there's 1 back post. And I'm going to work 1 back post into every stitch all the way around. And as you can see, it's going to make a little bit of a ridge there. And the more that you do, see that ridge it's making? It's fine. It's supposed to do that. So we're going to continue around putting 1 back post double crochet into every stitch until we make it back around to our starting point. And when you make it to the end of row 8, you should have a total of 72 stitches still. Remember, we're working back post now. Alright, so I made it to the end of round 8, and that's what it kind of looks like so far. So we're going to go ahead, 72 stitches, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into our first back post double crochet here. And then we're going to repeat what we just did by doing chaining 1 and doing a back post double crochet, back post, around every stitch all the way around. First one's always that hardest one. Here we go. So I'm working a back post double crochet again in every stitch. We're just repeating what we did on the previous row. Just like this. You can see it still makes that ridge again. So we're on round 9, and I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to do round 9, round 10, and then I will meet back up with you. So after I finish out round 9 doing back post double crochet in every stitch, I'm going to repeat it again for round 10, back post double crochet in every stitch, and I'll meet back up with you at the starting point of round 11. Remember, you'll have 72 stitches at the end of every row. So do this row and then one more row the exact same, and I'll meet back up with you. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 10, 72 stitches, and I ended by slip stitching into my first back post double crochet. So I know it looks a little wonky, I would say. Hopefully we can get it to look better though. Alright, so now what we're going to do for rounds 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, 5 rounds, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to be working 1 front post double crochet in every stitch now. So remember, the first one, you got to go around that chain 1 and the post. So now we're just back to front post doubles, all right? And we're going to be doing that for, this is around 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are all going to be one front post double crochet in every stitch until we make it back to the starting point. And when we make it back, you'll have 72 stitches, and then you just slip stitch into the top of your first one, chain one, and start again. So I'm going to continue around. I'm on round 11, front post double crochet, and I'm going to do round 12, 13, 14, and 15, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 15. Remember, we're working all front post double crochets, one in every stitch, and there's always going to be 72 stitches at the end of every row. All right, so I'll see you here in just a second. All right, so I have finished out round 15, and this is what it kind of looks like. It's okay if it's kind of dipping in on the bottom. It's kind of what it does until you put it on. So rounds 16, 17, and 18, the next 3 rounds are all going to be back post double crochet. So we're going to do what we did up here. Sorry about that. So finish row 15, going to start row 16, chain 1, and we're going to do 1 back post double crochet in every stitch. Remember that first one's always the hard one. There we go. So 3 rows of back post double crochets. Row 16, 17, and 18. 72 stitches at the end of every round, and I'll meet back up with you after I finish out round 18. All right, I just finished row 18 of back post double crochet. So I'm going to do rounds 19 and 20 are going to be rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I went ahead and ended round 18 there by slip stitching into my first stitch. So I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to go back in and into the top of the stitch, work a single crochet, and I'm going to work along the top of every stitch, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. And when I get back around, I'll have 72 single crochets, and then I want to do, this is round 19, I want to do 1 more round, which would be round 20, of another round of 1 single crochet in every stitch. Now if you want your hat longer or shorter, feel free to eliminate one of these rows of single crochet or add more if you prefer. That is completely up to you. But I'm going to do 2 rounds of single crochet, and then I'm going to clip off and hide my tails, and the hat will be finished. All right, here it is. It is finished. I think it turned out pretty cool. I like it. A lot of post stitches. Lots of post stitches, but it turned out pretty cool. So the top kind of, when you put it up right, it kind of goes in on itself, which is fine. But once you put it on your head, it straightens back out. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my channel. I do have well over 100 other hat tutorials, and close, well over 1,000 tutorials in general of anything that you could ever want to make, and multiples of them. So until next time, have a good day. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button. All right, bye guys.